So you want to be an aesthetic injector? Let's talk about it. I'm going to tell you everything that I can think of to help you become an aesthetic injector. First, let's start with requirements. As far as I'm aware, you have to hold some sort of medical licensure. I actually do believe LPNs can administer Botox depending on the state and the practice. However, generally speaking, you're going to want to be a registered nurse, a nurse practitioner, a PA, or higher in your degree level. In terms of requirements, that's really it. You don't have to take some $4,000 class. You don't have to get a certificate. You don't have to do anything else. So in terms of requirements, licensure, medical licensure, that's it. When you're first looking for your job, you're going to want to look across the board. Cosmetic nurse injector, aesthetic nurse injector, dermatology nurse, plastic surgery nurse. These are all the things that I typed into Google when I was looking for a job. It is pretty broad, the verbiage that's used to describe aesthetic nurses or injector nurses, whatever you want to call us. You just want to stay focused on finding a job in a place, like I've mentioned, dermatologist office, plastic surgeon's office, med spa, something that's going to offer medical injections. I do want to talk a little bit about experience. I have had a couple people reach out, which I absolutely loved. You could reach out and ask me questions anytime, so do that. But I did have a couple people reach out asking questions about how they can become aesthetic nurses or injectors fresh out of nursing school. I think it is absolutely incredible that you know what you want to do, and I think you should absolutely go for it. But there are some things that are going to be important to really building a good foundation to become an aesthetic nurse, to become any type of nurse. Remember that my background is in ER and pediatric ICU before I ever went into aesthetics. And when I did that, everybody told me, you need to start somewhere else first. You need to get another job doing something different. You're not going to be able to start in the ER. Like all of this stuff that people say that are just like, I wholeheartedly believe that you can start in any field you want to start in. You can do absolutely anything. With grit and determination, you can get anywhere. It may take a little bit longer. It may not be on a straight path, but you can absolutely get there. So my message to you is that if you want to go straight into aesthetics, I would recommend building a really, really good foundation, a solid foundation in your assessment skills and your understanding of vital signs and things that are just very imperative to human function. Because even when you get into aesthetics, you still need to know how to assess a patient. You still need to know how to poke people. We do PRP. You need to know how to start IVs, or at the very least do a blood draw. Those kinds of things are going to be very important for you to understand moving into aesthetics or functioning for the most part in any nursing capacity. If you're going straight into aesthetics, know that you need a strong background in those things, and you can achieve that by practice, going out of your way, maybe volunteering. I did some Red Cross volunteering back in the day when I was a medical assistant, and that helped reinforce knowledge of like IM injections and sub-Q injections and volunteering at the clinic where we lived on post when we lived in Germany. Those kinds of things just helped build a foundation. And that's what they're going to want to see when they hire you. They're going to want to hire someone that at least has a basic understanding in blood draws and IM injections, because we do vitamins at a lot of these places, understanding facial muscles, those kinds of things. If you can do anything to help yourself, just come prepared to an interview with saying, I understand that I don't have previous experience in medicine besides the fact that I've just become a nurse. But I promise you, given the opportunity, I know that I will succeed. It is about knowledge, understanding, and honestly confidence when you go into an interview. If you have the opportunity, I would say to work in some other facet of nursing or medicine prior to going into aesthetics, because it's just going to make that foundation stronger. However, by no means is that required for you to become an aesthetic nurse or to be successful as an aesthetic nurse. If you want to become an aesthetic nurse, I think you should absolutely, without a doubt, shadow somebody. I did not do this when I started in aesthetics, and my mind was a little bit blown. It's so easy to get trapped in this like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, reel video of, I mean, I've made them before, aesthetic nurse day in the life and days in the life of my dream job and stuff like that. It just does not depict the other stuff, right? I'm not gonna get on and make a day in a life and it's not gonna look romantic, though I should. Maybe I'll take that into consideration. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should be like, day in my life, but like my real life and not this fake little fantasy I made for this reel to look nice. But anyway, the reels that you see, the videos you see, most of the time are not encapsulating any of the harsher sides or negative sides of any job that you're watching. Go shadow somebody. Go see if this is what you want to be doing. When I started in aesthetics, I had a little bit of a crisis because I was like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And I had just come from these high volume, high traffic, critical care areas, and I was like, how am I gonna do this job? Like, this lady's mad about what? You know, people are dying. It was a mindset shift that I really needed to have that I just didn't really prepare for adequately. So I would absolutely say if you have the opportunity, go shadow somebody so that you can learn a little bit, so you can see what it's really like, get some processes down, and just really gather a better understanding of what the job is going to be that you're going to be doing. Now I want to get into more of the nitty-gritty of things, which is going to be like resume talk, skill talk, whatever, the extra stuff. So let's get into that. As a nurse injector, you need to capitalize on skills you already have. If you are new to this field, you need to understand that aesthetics is very, very sales heavy. At the end of the day, you're selling things to people that they need. This is a luxury. This is an option. This is not a requirement or a necessity for anybody. With the exception of maybe masseter Botox and migraine Botox for jaw pain and headaches, you're not going to get a lot of people who have any sort of medical benefit insurance wise for Botox filler, whatever. It's not going to happen. So you have to understand that this is a luxury for people who get it, and it is very sales heavy. Any experience that you have in retail, communication, sales, anything like that is going to benefit you tremendously. And adding that to your resume is going to be very, very beneficial. Something that worked really well for me when I applied for my job was that I worked for a very small family-owned company for a very long time. I started working when I was 14, and I did not stop working for this company till Corey and I moved to Germany when he was in the army. It was quite a while that I worked for them. The longevity of my career, if you will, with them, and the small family-owned business aspect was extremely helpful in getting hired for the job that I have now, because I work for an individual-owned med spa, same kind of small family business vibe. This is not a big corporation. This is not a hospital. There's not one on every corner of the street. There's one spa that I work for that is owned by one person. And so the skills that I gained in my other jobs, though not the same, though not dealing with skincare and medicine, really cross over into the sales and understanding the products and, looking for things and helping people find things that they need, dealing with angry customers, dealing with angry clients, all of it. They all really overlap a little bit. So any experience you have like that is going to be extremely helpful for you and something that you should absolutely put on your resume. When I applied, my now boss, I had just sent in my resume for nursing. So ER, pediatric ICU. I looked very, very good. I had all of these certifications and I had done these classes and I had so much on my resume that was I am who you need. But she was like, hey, do you have another resume you can send me with anything else you've done? Anything. All the other jobs you've had. And I was like, I do. I sure can. And that retail experience is everything that she wanted to see, so it was extremely helpful in me getting hired. Find where those things cross over and definitely make sure you include them on your resume. Let's talk about looking for the right job and finding the right place to be. Not all med spas are created equal. And when it comes to experience, if you're starting without any, I absolutely would suggest that you start in maybe a plastic surgery office or a dermatology office and maybe not a med spa, because you're going to be working under the direct supervision of different providers like doctors, NPs, PAs that are going to have more prescribing power and more teachability in those moments. Whereas working for a med spa, it's all of us nurses there and our medical director is off site. So if you're starting with that experience, I would definitely suggest starting in an environment that is more medicinal, because it would be really helpful to your learning experience and to understanding just the products, the services, all of that. I think it's really beneficial to start in a medical heavy environment. So now that we have all those things covered, let's talk about what you need to do next, which is looking for a job. Not all jobs are created equal, and you need to know that. Make sure wherever you go, you are working for a company that is willing to train you. I would not suggest you go to one of these 2-day Botox filler courses, get a job, and that be the only training you've acquired before you start injecting people. It is not safe, it is not efficacious, it is not going to be something that is good for you or for your nursing license. It's okay to start from the basics too. I came in thinking I want to do Botox filler, that's it, whatever. When I got hired, they were like, hey, we want to train you on lasers first and we want to start here and we will gradually move up to those things. And I was like, you know what? I could do that. Sorry, my camera died. Make sure that wherever you go, they are willing to train you. And again, it's okay if you start in a place that you didn't really assume that you were gonna start in, or a place that you didn't think you wanted to do. Especially as a new nurse, if you're going into aesthetics as a new nurse, you're going to learn the basics. Getting an understanding from those things is going to just help you bridge those gaps, strengthen that foundation, and really just prepare you to be the best injector that you can be. The company that I work for has sent me to a lot of injection trainings. I feel supported by the company that I work for, and I feel like they want me to be really good at what I do, so they send me to these trainings. I've been to quite a few at this point. They send me to these trainings to make sure that my skills are there, to make sure I understand these things, to learn and keep learning over and over again. And I just don't know if it's necessary truly in the beginning of this to fork out $3,000 to $4,000 for a couple of days of class. Do with that what you will. Yeah, do with that information what you will. It's up to you. I don't know. I didn't want to do it. Another thing that is going to be extremely helpful is gathering an understanding of products that are used in whatever facility you apply to. Wherever you go, look at 2, 3, 4 products that they offer. What are their best sellers, or what products do they like to use, and learn a little bit about the line, just so that you can gather some information that shows that you have a vested interest in becoming an injector. They kind of want to see like your self-motivation and your own determination in learning and understanding. If you show up and you're like, yeah, I want this job, aesthetics looks like fun, like I want to be an injector, but you don't know anything, it just doesn't hold a lot of weight compared to someone who comes in and is like, hey, I know that you use these products, I actually use this face wash every day and I love it. You know what I mean? Someone who has a vested interest in what they're doing. I think that's very important, and it speaks volumes to whoever is going to hire you. So make sure that you have some sort of grasp on that kind of knowledge. To add to this foundation and basis of knowledge that we've been talking about this whole video, make sure that you learn a little bit about these procedures before you go in for an interview or your first day of work if you get hired. Make sure that you kind of are learning a little bit. What is a laser used for, and why do we use them, and what are the dangers of lasers? This is only going to help you. It's not even about going to show them like, hey, this is what I know. At this point, it's about helping you when you get started. Don't let your first day of work be the first time that you're introduced to something. I think my last piece of advice for this video is going to be that you don't need to settle. Wherever you apply, do not settle just because you're offered a position. If the money is not there, if the time off isn't there, if you need insurance and that's not there, if it is not fitting to the things that you need, don't sacrifice that. Make sure that you get a job that is equally as beneficial to you as it is to the person that's hiring you. This industry is so popular right now that I think sometimes they can almost kind of take advantage of nurses a little bit. And that's not everywhere, that's not everything, but sometimes these bigger places, these corporations will try to hire nurses and not pay them a lot of money and not really get them doing the things that they want to do. And it's not good. So make sure that when you're applying for these jobs, you don't settle. I promise you, the determination to do well here is going to help you succeed exponentially, and you do not need to sacrifice yourself for any position in any career. You need to be happy, you need to be healthy, and you need to be enjoying doing what you're doing. Make sure that you do not sacrifice yourself for these jobs, because a job will come doing what you want to be doing. Even if it's not immediately, it may not be in the same linear fashion that you thought it would be, but it will absolutely be there. You just have to kind of maybe hold out a little bit longer if it's not exactly what you want. All right, my friends, I think that's it for today. I think that's all my little brain can handle. If you have any questions, please leave them down below or reach out to me on Instagram. That's where a few people have been reaching out now, which I absolutely love. I love it. You want to talk to me on Instagram about being a nurse or whatever? Yes, please do it. I am here for you. Leave comments down below, questions. What kind of videos do you want to see? What do you enjoy watching? Let me know. And while you're down there, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next video.